blues fans, glad you made it. Welcome to the next episode of This Week in the Blues. It's our weekly take on blues history. I'm your host, Jimbo Big Train Madsen with Big Train and the Locomotives, a blues band in Oklahoma. So let's take a look and see what happened this week in blues history. Blues guitar player Jesse Ed Davis was born on September 21st, 1944 in Norman, Oklahoma. His Native American ancestry was a blend of Comanche, Seminole, and Muskogee. He was well regarded as a session artist and solo performer, and he was a member of Taj Mahal's backing band and also played with musicians such as Eric Clapton, John Lennon, and George Harrison. In 2018, Davis was posthumously inducted into the Native American Music Hall of Fame. September 22nd, in 1965, Junior Wells started recording the album Hoodoo Man Blues. Now, it's regarded by many blues fans as the finest LP ever recorded as an album session, rather than as a collection of singles from different sessions. The recording marked one of the first times a working Chicago blues band had ever been brought into the studio to do a whole album. Junior Wells transferred his South Side Blues Club act into the studio with ease, superbly supported by Buddy Guy, bassist Jack Myers, and drummer Bill Warren. Chicago blues guitar player Mighty Joe Young was born September 23rd in 1927 in Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, he was an amateur boxer in the 1940s, but later recalled that it was nothing to write home about. I decided that music was the best thing to do. Now, there was a time during the late 1970s and early 80s when Mighty Joe Young was one of the leading blues guitar players on Chicago's budding North Side blues circuit. Now, beginning in the late 1950s, he performed and/or recorded with a who's who of Chicago blues artists, including Otis Rush, Magic Sam, Jimmy Rogers, Billy Boy Arnold, Willie Dixon, Tyrone Davis, and Jimmy Dawkins. Oh, the great Ray Charles was born September 23rd in 1930. Among friends and fellow musicians, he preferred being called Brother Ray and was often referred to as the Genius, a rather fitting nickname. Charles was blinded during childhood, possibly due to glaucoma. Now, Charles pioneered the soul music genre during the 1950s by combining blues, jazz, rhythm and blues, and gospel styles into the music he recorded for Atlantic Records. He contributed to the integration of country music, rhythm and blues, and pop music during the 1960s with his crossover success. While he was with ABC Records, Charles became one of the first black musicians to be granted artistic control by a mainstream record company. Chicago blues guitar player Fenton Robinson was born September 23rd in 1935. He was active in the Chicago blues scene in the 1960s through the 1980s. A product of the Mississippi Delta, Robinson was born near Greenwood, Mississippi. He left home at the age of 18 and moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where he recorded his first single, Tennessee Woman, in 1957. Now, in 1959, he made his first recording of As the Years Go Passing By, later recorded by several other blues artists. In 1967, he recorded his signature song, Somebody Loan Me a Dime. In 2023, he was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. Blues legend Blind Lemon Jefferson was born on September 24th, 1893. He was one of the most popular blues singers in the 1920s and has been called the father of the Texas blues. Now, Blind Lemon Jefferson was to Texas blues what Charlie Patton was to Mississippi blues. His performances had a direct influence on such legendary Texas musicians such as Lightnin' Hopkins, T-Bone Walker, and Leadbelly, while his recordings helped bring his influence to an even larger audience. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame selected Jefferson's Matchbox Blues as one of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. Jefferson was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame in 1980 as part of the inaugural class. Blues singer and guitar player Robert "Chick" Willis was born September 24th in 1934 and is the cousin of blues guitar player Chuck Willis. Now, Chick made his vinyl debut in 1956 with the single "You're Mine" after winning a talent contest at Atlanta's Magnolia Ballroom. He is primarily remembered for his ribald, kinda dirty Dozens bass track, "Stoop Down, Baby." He cut the original version in 1972, selling 45s for the jukebox market only because the tune's lyrics were too raunchy for airplay. You can't play it on the radio? Play it on the jukebox. He released a steady stream of albums in the 1980s and 1990s, and even continued to record into the 2000s. Tar Heel Slim was born September 24th, 1923. Now, his real name is Alan Bunn, and he recorded in virtually every post-war music genre imaginable. However, spirituals were Bunn's first love. While still in North Carolina during the early 1940s, this guitar player worked with the Gospel Four and then the Celia Jubilee Singers. Bunn broke away in 1949 to form the Jubilators. During a single day in New York in 1950, he recorded for 4 labels under 4 different names. One of those labels was Apollo, who convinced him to go secular. That's basically how the Larks, one of the seminal early R&B vocal groups, came to be. Blues singer and guitar player Rosa Lee Hemphill was born September 25th in 1910 in Como, Mississippi, right in the heart of the Delta. She shortened her last name to just Hill and played music that was in the tradition of North Mississippi. Her song, "Bullion Well," which was recorded by Alan Lomax, has been included on a number of releases over the years. The daughter of country blues musician Sid Hemphill, Rosalie learned guitar from her father, and by the time she was 10, was playing dances with him. Several of her songs were recorded by Alan Lomax in 1959, including "Rolled and Tumbled." Hill and her husband were sharecroppers and lived in perpetual poverty. She is the aunt of blues singer Jessie Mae Hemphill. Mississippi Juke Joint legend Roosevelt Booba Barnes was born September 25th, 1936 in Longwood, Mississippi. He learned to play harmonica at 8, began playing juke joints at the age of 16, and was a regular performer in the clubs on Greenville's famed Nelson Street by the age of 17. His nickname came from a brother who said that Roosevelt was worse than a booby trap. Roosevelt Booba Barnes opened a nightclub, the Pony Boy Club, in 1985, and played there with a backing group called the Playboys. The one and only Bob Corritore was born September 27th in 1956. Now, if you're looking for someone who has done everything with the blues, look no further. He's a blues harmonica player, a record producer, blues radio show host, and owner of the Rhythm Room, a music venue in Phoenix, Arizona. Corritore's first live performance came in his teens on Chicago's Maxwell Street. He started attending performances at clubs on the south and west sides of Chicago, where he was mentored by Louis Myers, Lester Davenport, Junior Wells, Big Leon Brooks, Little Max Simmons, Big Walter, and others who regularly invited him on stage to play. Well, blues fans, we just covered just some of the highlights here. If you want to know more about these artists or other things that happened this week in the blues, be sure to follow our social media pages, or just go out and visit our website at bigtrainblues.com. There's lots of great info out there. Now, we have a great episode next week, and we'll talk about blues singer Coco Taylor and the Iceman, Albert Collins. You won't want to miss it, so we'll see you then.